Hello everyone and welcome to this video. In the last lesson, we talked about the class map method and the array filter method. We saw how the class map method works as well as how the filter methods work by filtering out elements that may pass a test or meet a criteria, and then omit or filter out element that does not meet or pass the test. So we were able to see how each of these methods works with array elements. So in this particular lesson, we are going to be looking at another important method when working with arrays in JavaScript, and that is called the JavaScript array reduce method. The reduce method runs a function on each array element to produce a single value. So if you pay attention to what I just read now, it's basically saying that when you use the reduce method, it runs a function on each array element to produce a single value, which means that the reduce method will expect a function, and that function is what is going to take to run on each array element to produce a single value. The reduce method works from left to right in the array, which means that it will start execution from the left to the right in an array. So here's an example on my screen, an array of numbers that contains random number, and then you can see this is the method. The method expects a function, and this is the function. And you can notice something about the function, that the function expected 4 different parameters in respect of total, value, index, and array before it now returns a result, which is the value of the total plus value. So this is how the array reduce method works. So let's quickly take a look at an example before we come back to the other things that we have here on the slide. So I will open my editor and take out this code. And now I can make numbers as my array. So I want to make it just like the other one I used in the other type. So I want to do later sum. Okay, let me do sum this time around. Equals numbers dot reduce. And so you can see that this expects a function. So let's pass through the function. And here, let's get this out dot get element by id. Then wow dot inner HTML equals, so I'll just use the sum is sum, and then I can make the function. So it expects 4 parameters. So the first one is total, second one is value, the next one is index, and the last one is array. And so you can ask it to return total plus value. So there's an error if nothing is shown right here on my screen. So let's take a look at what is actually wrong in the console. So total is not given. So instead of total, I wrote TOAL, which means that I omitted the T mistakenly. So let me correct it and let's see what happens. So you can see now, here is my output. The sum is 99. So which means that the reduce method, we had all these numbers together. And that is why we are saying this one, because we are saying, okay, the total should be added, and that is why we are getting 99. Don't forget that we are not doing filter here, but instead we are doing reduce. The reduce method. Reduce an array to a single value. You can see that instead of having that 5 or 6 values of of the 6 value that the array has initially, you can see what happened, that everything has been reduced into a single value. And now what that means is that it takes the total element of the array, sum them up, and then give us the single output as the value for it. Now, before we go away from this, I want you to just take note of something. You can see that we are passing in parameters of total value index array. Now, there are situations where you don't necessarily need these two. They are optional. So if I take away these two, let's see what happens. The code still works, which means that index and array are optional. But if I take away value, let's see what happens. It should definitely hit an error. You can see nothing is displayed on the screen. So which means that total and value are the required parameters. The index and the array can be omitted or set optionally. Without them, your code will still work very fine. One more thing before we go, the fact that the reduce method can accept an initial value. So aside from what we have here, you can add an initial value to it. So let's say my function here, I want to add an initial value of say 100, like this. Now, you can see that by passing in the initial value, it has also changed the output of what my array is like. And now instead of 99, I am having 199, which means that the reduce method will pick the elements that you have in your array, reduce them into a single value, and then add it together with any initial value that you passed in into your method. So let's say we have 100 and I add another 100. Let me see, is there anything changing? No, which means that it only recognizes the first one. So if I pass two other things like this, as many as possible, it will not work, as you can see. So the only thing is that it can accept an initial value. So since an initial value, it can always, it could be anything, but one is always the ideal thing. If I change this to 10 or to 100,000, this definitely will work. But once it is beyond this one single first initial value, it will not have any effect on the output of your code, just as I showed us now. So this is how the reduce method works with array in JavaScript. It's reduce method and it reduce an array instead, to a single value when working with it in your array. So this is how the reduce method works in JavaScript. So for a quick recap, you can see that the reduce method also uses parameter, just like the way the flat map method and the filter method expected parameter. So this also requires parameter, and it works with this parameter to be able to achieve a given result at any point in time. Don't forget to practice about these things. Thank you, and I will see you in the next lesson. Thank you.